to the Messier Mantra. I'm your host, Mike Messier. On this episode, we have a great return guest. His name is Kurtis Lee Thomas, and I'm holding his book. It's called The World Is Yours, parenthesis, The World Is Ours. It's a nice trick. Kurtis Lee Thomas, welcome back.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And like I'm trying to get this, it's great. It's The World Is Yours, parenthesis, The World Is Ours, like the way you did it.
Yeah.
And subtitle, The Awakening, The Secrets Behind the Secret. So we talked about your book last time. Let's kind of get into how you chose your title for the book, because that's important stuff.
Jeez. It was actually, I wrote the book already and I had a completely different title.
Yeah.
The book, finally finished it, and then it just came in my head and I said, oh, I'm changing it.
Okay, cool.
But the book, the title is powerful, because it's really the message of the whole book, and the world is yours.
Right.
You create your reality. And you do that with, actionable steps and knowledge. Knowing that you can, first of all, and then knowing how to.
Right.
Is another thing. But we're doing it anyway.
Right.
We're creating our reality every single day, but the problem is the majority of people are stuck on autopilot.
Oh, yeah.
So we keep, we keep doing this, having the same thoughts.
Yeah.
Right? And we keep having the same emotions. We keep doing the same actions.
Right.
And we keep living out the same life. And like Albert Einstein said, you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Right.
Is the definition of insanity.
Yeah.
So we're stuck on this autopilot because we became, like Napoleon Hill, we get into a hypnotic rhythm.
Right.
And once you get into that hypnotic rhythm, it's very hard to be broken. Like we talked about in the last episode, that's the analysis and paralysis.
Right.
When you're stuck in that hypnotic rhythm, your mind's doing one thing and your body's doing another thing.
Right.
Your mind knows what to do, but we're not doing what we know.
Right.
And that's the paralysis. That's the, we got one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake.
Man. Yeah, I know what that's like.
And look how much energy is being wasted slamming on the brakes, slamming on the,
Right.
and you're not getting anywhere.
Yeah. You're switching gears, but a lot of times you're going reverse.
Exactly. Yeah.
2 steps forward, 2 steps back. So let me, what I just noticed? I had your book in my hand for the last episode, but I just noticed, this is really cool. If you did the graphic design or somebody else, but the way that they did the name, The World Is Yours, The World Is Ours, and the word is right in the middle of the D, so that's very cool. And also, the O in world and the O in yours, ours, is actually is that the eternity symbol?
Eternity, infinity, yeah.
Infinity symbol, yeah. So tell me about how you, because graphic design is really cool. My sister's a graphic designer, so how did you kind of work that in the mix?
It just was looking at it, and I said, wait, these O's perfectly line up.
Right.
And my favorite number was always 8.
Okay.
So the infinity was always like a sign that, resonated with me.
Right.
And I said, let's make it. It worked.
Nice.
And it looked really nice. It's really cool. I'm not sure if you noticed, but if you look at the globe, those are all comprised of tiny, tiny little photos.
Nice. I didn't even notice that. Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot. I got pictures of me and like Beyonce,
wow.
and Tony Robbins, and they're all like little mosaic collages. There's about quite a few hundred. I think there's like 600 photos in there. And I used to be a celebrity jeweler back in the day, so I met a lot of celebrities, and so they're all in there. And a bunch of my Facebook friends are on there. I asked who want to be a part of it.
Nice.
So it's pretty cool. Get people involved,
Now we were going to talk about Tony Robbins. You're meeting him. Okay, you said Beyonce. So, all right, what's going on with that? That sounds pretty exciting. She just performed at the Super Bowl halftime party, and it's just she's a big name. And how'd you meet her?
I was at BET Awards.
Yep.
In California, and I had a gifting suite at the tent, and a bunch of celebrities come in and they get free stuff like they always do.
Right.
And Beyonce was over there, and then I was trying. Obviously, everyone's trying.
Sure, right.
Beyonce,
Get a moment, Beyonce moment.
So her bodyguards were like like that, and I was like whatever. And then her mother came out of nowhere, grabbed my arm. She's like, "Wait right here." And she went over, got Beyonce, and brought her to me.
Wow.
Mind you, I never met the mother before.
Yeah.
I was just the universe, I guess. I don't know how else to describe it.
Mrs. Knowles, sure.
Yeah. And then, she came over and introduced me, and I have to say, I never was starstruck with anybody.
Yeah.
But when Beyonce came up, she walked up and I'm like, oh man, she's taller than I thought she is.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh wait, she's coming right towards me. Oh my God, she's really coming.
Wow.
And then, yeah.
Well, that's pretty awesome. Yeah,
that's cool.
And let's talk about, we got a lot of things to talk about. We'll cover it all. You met, you get to see a speech by two of my favorite speakers, Wayne Dyer and Tony Robbins. Let's talk about those situations. Which one did you see first?
Seen Wayne Dyer last year in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And it was a Hay House event, and great lineup.
Yeah.
Amazing people, Bruce Lipton, Carolyn Miss. So he came on first.
Right.
And he's amazing, these people there. I mean, he's been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
He just sat in a chair.
Right.
It was little, whatever the hat's called.
Right, the beret he was wearing.
Hat,
yeah.
And the reason why he's so good is because he connects.
Yeah.
He just speaks from truth.
Right.
And he's just compassionate.
Yes.
And he just connects with you, on a level. And it was enjoyable.
Nice.
I had a good time.
There was other speakers there?
Yeah. There's Bruce Lipton. He was good. And Carolyn Miss. Those are the ones I could think off the top of my head. But it was a good lineup.
And then you get to meet Tony Robbins.
Met Tony Robbins last week.
Oh, just last week?
Phoenix.
Wow.
Yeah, I was in Phoenix. And,
nice.
So I had some a platinum access, and got the meet and greet and photo ops, and he's a gigantic man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I took the picture. And it's like, it makes me look tiny.
For people that maybe know these guys, they're definitely worth looking into. Wayne Dyer and Tony Robbins, or whatever you want to call it, motivational speakers. Tony used a different term.
He doesn't use motivational.
Yeah, he uses a different term. Do you remember?
He just was talking about, I can't remember what he says, but he says, I'm not a motivational speaker. And he even asked him one time, they're like, where do you get the motivation to do what you do? Like, where do you get it? He says, I don't need motivation. He goes, my vision is so clear and powerful that it pulls me to my goals.
Right.
So I guess he's got a thing against motivation,
Well, it was I'm trying to remember.
It's a term.
Yeah, we're both kind of stumped. Yeah.
But I don't know. I got notes.
Going back to you and your transformation, you tell me that you were a businessman, and then you kind of got into the spiritual sense of things. And were we talking about? Were you doing your jewelry business, your celebrity jewelry business?
I was always infatuated with business.
Right.
I remember when I was 4 years old.
Yeah.
Right? So it's the year the Power Wheels came out.
Okay.
The coolest thing in the world. When they came out, every kid in the universe wanted one.
Yes.
And my mother was like, I'm gonna get you one for Christmas and your birthday.
Right.
So they fall in, and that's gonna be your gift.
Right.
And I was like, nah, I don't want that.
Okay.
She's like, what do you want? I go, I want a 3-piece suit.
Wow. Nice.
She goes,
4 years old. Yeah.
4 years old. What? And then she's like, okay, well. He obviously doesn't know what a Power Wheels is. She took me to Toys R Us.
Yeah.
Jumped on the Power Wheels, and she goes, you were riding around that place, smile, ear to ear, woo, right. And then finally I come back, and I get off. She's like, so is this what you want? Smile to ear to ear. I said, nope. I want a 3-piece suit.
Wow.
So that's the age I really was infatuated with business. And I've had multiple different businesses and dipped and dabbled into a bunch of different things. But I had a spiritual, I call it spiritual awakening, because when people say, when did you become spiritual?
Right.
In all reality, I already was spiritual, I just didn't know.
Right.
I was a spiritual being having a human experience, not a human being having a spiritual experience.
Right.
And that's what we all are. We all are spiritual beings.
Right.
So that was the core essence of who I was, but I had to awaken to that. And there were certain events in my life that had me awaken to that, because I was young, and just like everybody else, I was into the things that every guy's into: cars, girls, money, and growing businesses. That's what it was. But then I realized there was more to the story.
Right.
There was a bigger picture, and there was things that I was missing.
Right.
And I wasn't seeing. And a big event that happened was my brother, about 4 years ago, got murdered.
Oh, geez, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it was a home invasion.
Oh, man.
In Boston, a robbery, and they killed him and his fiancée.
Horrible.
Horrible. So that was obviously devastating.
Yeah.
Devastating. So it kind of took me off my horse.
Yep.
From pitching my businesses and whatnot. And I was kind of, for about 6 months, kind of just real shaky.
Right.
And I had this reality show that I created. And it was this awesome reality show. It was about Rhode Island.
Okay.
And about 7 of my friends were all different, personalities.
Right.
And, one was the actor, the aspiring actor, and the entrepreneur, and the singer, and the VJ, and, and just all these cool people. It was about, leaving the smallest state in the entire country and going to the largest stage in the entire world. So it was about moving to California.
Right.
So I was in California. This is 6 months after. I'm pitching my reality show, and I'm MTV and all these big, big networks I got in front of. And one guy, he actually was the producer and founder of Rev Run, Rev Run show on MTV or whatever.
Oh, the Run DMC.
Yeah, Run DMC, that guy. And he said, you need a female with like another crazy type of, talent or something like that.
Right.
So I'm at 7-Eleven, and I run into this lady, and she gives me her business card, and and she's like, give me a call. And I just kind of put it in my thing. I thought it was kind of weird. And then the next day, I look at my card, and it says, Psychic Maggie.
Okay.
Like, what the hell is this? Like, why'd she give me her card? It was just a strange encounter.
Right.
So I thought that was pretty odd. So I'm like, you know what? Let me go on the YouTube and just see. And I go on the YouTube, and then I look at her videos.
Yep.
And she's on a video, and she goes, hey, my name's Maggie, blah, blah, blah. She goes, I'm a clairvoyant psychic. I can see into the past, present, and future. She goes, if you pick me for your reality show, I'll be perfect asset for your reality show. I'm like, what the heck?
Right.
This is strange. I need a blonde lady. She was a blonde lady with a unique talent. She was a psychic who needed to get on my reality show. She wanted to get on a reality show. So I called her. I said, are you a psychic? She goes, yeah, honey, I'm a psychic. I'm like, freaked me out.
Right.
I'm like, don't want anything to do with that stuff. It's that hocus pocus, the weird type of stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, but I have a reality show. And long story short, she ends up flying to Rhode Island.
Wow.
And we start filming it.
Wow.
And she then tells me, your brother's here, and he wants to talk to you.
Oh boy, yeah.
And I was like, well, my brother just passed away.
Right.
What do you mean? She goes, I know. I'm also a medium. I can talk to
wow.
spirits. So I'm like, freaked out by the whole thing.
Sure, this is a little out there, yeah.
Way out there.
Right.
And I wasn't for any of that, and I didn't do it.
Yeah.
But she was there for the week, and so it came up again. He really wants to talk to you.
Wow.
So I'm just like, all right, let's just do, whatever. And, he started talking to me, and, and I'm like, yeah, I don't
Through
really
her
know.
voice?
Yeah, she's like relaying the message.
Right.
She's the medium.
Yes.
So he's the spirit world, and we're here, and she's like kind of whatever.
The medium, sure. Yeah.
And he's like, he doesn't think you believe it's him.
Right.
I'm like, well, that's the first thing she got right.
Yeah.
I didn't. So then he's like, ask him a question. So I'm like, all right, when's the last place that I seen you?
Yeah.
Because I know I never told anybody.
Right.
She's like, oh, he's showing me that it's a gold M and a bunch of cars.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, what does that mean? I met him last time I seen him was McDonald's parking lot.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. So he asked more questions, and then we started dialecting. All of a sudden, his personality started coming through.
Yeah.
Which was weird, and then he started telling me things that only me and him knew.
Right, intimate stuff.
Yeah, and then I'm saying, like, this is kind of strange.
Right.
And then I asked him, like, what happened? And he actually explained, everything that would happen. And and I'm like, well, who did this?
Right.
And he gave me the first and last names of the people that did this.
Wow, that's intense.
And no one ever knew.
Right.
And so I kind of took that to the grave, that was the plan.
Yeah.
But what happened 2 weeks later, they ended up catching the people that did it.
That's good.
And the same names he told me were the same names in the Boston newspaper.
Wow.
So I was just completely freaked out. And he also told me my sister was pregnant.
Oh,
and
my.
And come to find out she was pregnant. And
wow.
And I realized that I had a conversation with a dead person.
Right.
And I'm a logical Capricorn type of person. Right?
Sure.
You got to see it to believe it, And I said, you know what? How could you have a conversation with a dead person? It's not possible.
Right.
So the only logical thing is that they're not really dead.
Right.
So I had this epiphany, like, the spirit truly does. I heard about it, but it truly does live on.
Right.
And then the moment I started looking at death differently, it didn't have as much power over me.
Right.
And the moment I started looking at death differently, I started looking at life differently.
Wow.
And it just opened me up to a whole nother reality. It did something to my brain and just expanded my consciousness, And that right there was one of the things that kind of opened me up to, like, what is this spirit?
Right.
What we all have inside of us that's omnipotent, omnipresent, and all-knowing and, intelligent, that doesn't die. What is that? And I started studying, these weird questions. What happens when we die? Are we really, what's the spirit made out of? And, went deep down that rabbit hole, and that kind of woke me up into a whole bunch of different things, and the law of attraction. And my cousin was a conspiracy theorist.
Oh boy!
I mean, between my cousin being the crazy conspiracy theorist and this thing happening, and all these things happening at the same time, my reality started shifting.
Yes.
And I was able to break out of that hypnotic rhythm that Napoleon Hill talks about.
Right.
And awaken. Hence, the book is The Awakening.
The Awakening. Yeah.
Awakening to who we really are.
Yep.
And why we're really here.
Right.
Because you wake up in the morning, you go to work, and say, why are we doing this?
Yeah, begrudgingly, kind of,
we
gonna take my
here?
shower and
what are we doing?
grab my apple and oatmeal and get in the car and, punch in the clock and sit in the cubicle. And
for what? What's the bigger picture?
Right.
And that's what I really started to become infatuated with. And
Right.
that's what Tony Robbins talks about. He's like, I don't care what. He goes, hunger. Hunger is what's going to drive you to success.
Right.
Hunger is that one thing that you get. And I actually got hunger.
Yes.
For knowledge, for wisdom, and for truth.
Right.
And that's what the book embodies.
That was great what you're saying. And when you mentioned Tony Robbins again, because before we were both kind of stumped, was his term the question guy? Or something like that? Like, I am the question guy. I want people to ask questions. And something like that. Or I'm asking the questions. Or I thought it was something like that.
I can't. I'd be guessing.
Yeah. Guessing. So what are you? If you're a lot of things. Motivational speaker, transformation coach, author. Yeah.
I mean, the most accurate, an author. That's just, I wouldn't really call myself an author. Of course, I wrote a book.
I'm
an author.
Sure.
Even like motivation. I'd like to call it, and I just came up with this now, a reality shatterer.
Interesting.
Because, if you really think about it, perception is everything.
Yeah.
Perception is everything.
Right.
That is our reality.
Right.
And currently there's 7.23 billion realities going on simultaneously right now as we speak.
Yes, and that's only humans. If you think about the cats and the dogs,
exactly.
I kind of look at us like, hey, who's this big person giving me a can of food? Sure. Yeah.
Every single person has their own reality going on.
Right.
So what you believe isn't necessarily what I believe. What scares you doesn't necessarily scare me.
Right.
What makes me cry might not necessarily make you cry.
Right.
So it's like, even though we're in the same space,
yes,
we're operating in two different realities.
Right.
So we can tune in and change our reality at different times.
Yes.
And change our life, change our timelines. But it's a skill.
Right.
We need to know how to do this. So this is what I talk about in the book, how to create your reality.
Yeah, there's that whole, I'm holding up my hand and I see the back of it, you see the front of it, but the hand is being held and we're both seeing different sides of it.
Exactly.
Let's do the book game again.
Okay.
Maybe I'll take a shot at it. I'll do a little reading your book.
Cool.
Let's see. Thoughts can grow. I remember watching Leonardo DiCaprio's movie Inception. In the movie, a technology exists that enables people to enter the human mind through dream invasion. DiCaprio's character is a highly skilled thief that is in the subconscious security business. In the very early minutes of this movie, he explains the power of a thought or an idea. He explains that an idea can spread like a virus or cancer until it takes over a person, so much that it comes to define that person. He suggests that a single thought from the human mind has the power to build cities, transform our world, and rewrite the rules by which we live. And just do this quote real quick. Quote by Oprah Winfrey. You really can change your own reality based on the way that you think. So take a look at these two sections. The Inception, which was a big-time movie.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was about 6 years ago, and I remember seeing that with the whole twist, the thing at the end. And what I like, as an actor myself, like you mentioned the film stuff, and then you have Oprah. Is let me just ask you this: are there any films in your personal viewing history like, hey, that film kind of clicks something, or?
I think people would be flabbergasted by the amount of truth that's sprinkled within the movies that we see.
Right.
And there's truth in so many of these Hollywood movie blockbusters, even The Matrix.
Right.
If you really look at The Matrix, you just think it's some sci-fi movie, but there's embedded truth within that.
Right.
So there's I find truth in a lot of movies. It's just a matter of your perception of how you're viewing it. Like when I watch a movie, I watch it with the intention of how can this better me?
Right.
I don't watch scary movies. I don't watch any of that stuff because if you really understand the subconscious, if anyone understood the subconscious mind and the power of your thoughts and your imagination, you'll never put on another scary movie and you shut the news off in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah.
Because the brain, when it's seeing, it can't tell the difference between a dream or reality. It can't tell the difference between what it's seeing is a movie or what if it's seeing is acting out in its own life. So when you're viewing these movies, your brain thinks you're really in this horror film. Now, why is that detrimental to the life that we want to live? Because if we're watching horror movies, our external world is a reflection of our internal world. So if we put all these negative emotions and all these, fear and all this stuff inside of us, that's the emotions that manifest. That's the emotions that we tell the world, we tell our bodies, it's okay to feel this way.
Interesting.
And for me, it's not okay to feel any type of those negative emotions because we naturally have those things and I want to get rid of them as much as I possibly can.
Right.
We're all really heading to that path of enlightenment, which just means to live everyone wants to be happy.
Right.
We don't want to feel these negative emotions. Emotions, we're supposed to have them. They're like clouds, they come and then they go. But to bask in them, to have them for entertainment, and when I know that's creating the external reality, I won't do it.
Doesn't interest you anymore.
Doesn't interest me. I'm all about transformation, and it's the things we listen to, it's the things we watch, it's the people we hang around with.
Right.
All of these are key factors, in the quality and the healthiness of our lifestyle.
Nice. The woe is me, stuff is just not the way to go.
Yeah.
It's interesting what you said about the news because I go to these coffee houses and even at the YMCA today, I was, first of all, it's a little weird. I mean, you have all these cardio, vascular machines, the cardio electronic machine, and people are doing the Stairmaster and the elliptical and the exercise bike, and they have literally 6 TV screens across the YMCA, and it's like, all right, and like some of the volumes are on and some of them aren't, so I got in there and I'm really, I've done this a few times. I felt very uncomfortable when I came in because one TV has on the news, like cable newscast. The other TV has on the sports channel, and I'm thinking, all right, the volume's on this one for the news, and the volume right next to that one's on the sport. Okay, I'm hearing, I've got a conflicting noise issue is what I call it, man, because I don't want to hear 2 things at once. Like it's bad enough, you hear all these machines and
the funny thing is with that is, let's say all 6 TVs have noises on.
Right.
Your subconscious mind will pick up and register all 6.
Yeah. Horrible.
All 6 of them. That's why, you have these crazy dreams.
Right.
But you don't know. It was something that your subconscious picked up. Your conscious mind, you weren't conscious of it. But you pick up all this stuff, like sleeping with the TV on. It's actually one of the worst things that you can do.
Really?
I think the one thing that everyone should do and start with to transform their life is go on a news diet. Okay. Cut the news off completely.
Yep.
Because it's not, watch transformational shows like this, educational stuff, The news, it just really just embeds so much negativity inside of us. And it's not healthy at all.
Right.
And people say, but I gotta make sure I'm up to date. And what if this happens? And what if that happens? And stuff. Well, guess what? I haven't watched the news in 2 years.
Nice.
And I'm perfectly fine.
Yeah, you look very happy, I gotta say. Yeah. So I'm sitting here wearing a black t-shirt and you're like all dressed up and having a good time, the yellow striped tie, and I'm like, I gotta wear one for this guy.
It's because I cut off the news.
We gotta go to Johnston and hang out at Luigi's and I gotta listen to more Kurtis, man. So we're talking about all these things and it's like, one thing I gotta say today, I was like, okay, got Kurtis on and our friend, our mutual friend Karen Bentley, the tarot card reader suggested you for the show. I was like, I want to do a quick, research on Kurtis Lee Thomas, author of The World Is Yours. And I was like, click on your Facebook page. First thing I see on the Facebook page is, I'm off Facebook. You're like, I'm done. And I'm like, I did this, like 6 months ago, I was having some issues with some, cyber bullies, people giving me a hard time about stuff I'm doing on Facebook. And I'm like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Because I don't know if people are giving you a hard time or you just...
No, I don't. I wouldn't ever let that bother me.
Right.
Ever. Where I step into this, the stuff that's in this book.
Right.
The cyberbullies is the last thing I should be worried about.
Yeah.
Because there's such deep truth.
Right.
Like for instance, like I said, the president's granddaughter.
Right. Laura
To be able to say that this information in this book blew her away,
right.
who's privy to top class information that we couldn't even imagine.
Right.
You know, so it's extremely powerful. But no, I got off the Facebook temporarily.
Right.
Is because I'm rebuilding, reinventing, and rebranding myself.
Okay.
And I just went to all these workshops and all these seminars, and I literally got a pound of notes that I'm transforming into a new book.
Yes.
And like I tell people, you know, information you have to apply.
Right.
How many workshops did you go to? You get all all happy, right? And then you come back and
sleep.
And you fizzle out.
Right.
Right? It's because you didn't apply the knowledge. You
right.
And you went right back into your hypnotic rhythm of your life.
Yep.
And it's like, you know, like I say, information without application is just conversation.
Oh, wow.
That's why we have a generation on medication, but that's just my speculation.
I like say that again, man. If you can remember that, because that was good. Say that
it's
again.
funny. I got that from a really good friend, and he put it together for me, and I was like, oh, say that one more time. Yeah. But it's true.
Yeah.
Information without application is just conversation. That's why we have a generation on medication. But hey, that's just my speculation.
Well, what I like about that is I was talking to my buddy, filmmaker Tommy DiNucci the other day, and we're kind of going back and forth about stuff, you know, going on with me, going on with him, and I coined the term the BitTorrent generation. You know, like, and I think BitTorrent is that website stuff where you can just steal stuff, steal programs. If I got the name right, steal programs, steal screenwriting programs, steal music, steal Microsoft, you know, programs. I'm like, you know, it's called BitTorrent. And I'm like, yeah, I've been guilty of that. You know, you go on, you're like, hey, I don't want to pay $50 or $100 for this program, and so my little friend is going to hook me up with that. But at the end of the day, these people are stealing information. And I'm talking about all of us, not just, you know, certain people, but like the whole generation of, I don't need to pay for information, and I don't need to pay for a motivational speaker. I'll just watch it on YouTube or Vimeo. And, you know, it's kind of like, you know, what happened to the ethics of like, hey, this guy or lady has something to offer, whether it's a speaker or a class, and I'm going to pay 50, you know, $80, $79 for this thing. I'm, you know, just, it's very frustrating, you know.
Yeah, that's why, you know, in these days, there's so much free information out there that in order for someone to be successful in a motivational speaker or something, you have to have a true connection.
Right.
You know, if someone has a connection with you and they truly feel that you can help transform their lives, price isn't an issue.
Right.
You know, they'll go directly to you. There will be ethics involved, you know. So.
I love it, man. Well, guess what? We've burned through another episode of the Messier Mantra. Yeah, it was quick.
Yeah, that was a quick one.
So, Kurtis Lee Thomas, the world is ours, the world is yours. The Awakening, the secrets behind the secret. And I'm sure people will just go online and Google your name, Kurtis Lee Thomas, and they'll find this book.
Amazon,
man. Not hard to find.
Yeah.
Kurtis Lee Thomas, man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We had a great episode with Kurtis Lee Thomas here in the Messier Mantra. We want to thank you for watching and come back for more Messier Mantra.